Hey guys, it's Garrett with Executive Firearms, and today we're going to be talking about dry fire. I'm going to be giving you guys a set of drills or things that you can actually do at home to increase your proficiency without having to go to the range. A lot of people are super busy, they might not have the budget to go out and shoot, but that doesn't mean that you can't be improving that skill set even when you're not sending rounds downrange. Though it's not talked about much in the firearms community, or if it is talked about, it's not really demonstrated, or people don't really know what the practice is. They just hear the word dry fire and they kind of go, well, what do I do with that? So what we're going to do is actually talk through some of the practices that you can do, but the other benefit of dry fire is you can get all those reps out of the way for when you're going to the range. So if you're like me, what I like to do is before a range day, if I know I'm going to go out and shoot some rounds, I'll kind of put together what I like to do or what I need to work on, and I'll really run through that so that I kind of get some of the rust or knock some of the crummy reps off without having to spend the ammunition. So a lot of people think that dry fire is just for the advanced shooters, and this simply isn't true. A great example of this for beginner shooters is learning to lock the slide to the rear. In class all the time, I'll have students that have difficulty locking the slide to the rear. They understand the steps, but getting their fingers to do exactly what you need them to do in the time is very difficult. So what I tell them is, hey, make sure you remember the steps, then you'll be able to go home later and do what we call dry fire. You'll be able to practice the manipulation without eyes on you, without being at a live range, all this stuff. You'll be training to your time, you don't feel rushed, you can sit there and really figure it out. A lot of people don't do this. They just, here's the gun, learn how to lock the slide to the rear, and it takes them several range sessions before they feel comfortable doing what they need to do. So I like to build dry fire in a way that says, hey, go do this at home, so that when you get to the range, you don't have to struggle with it. All right, speaking of locking the slide to the rear, that's actually one of the first drills I think is very important for people to get extremely good at. Just practicing it over and over and over again. I know it seems kind of like a menial task, but it's actually very, very important when it comes to manipulating the firearm. So when you're getting used to locking the slide to the rear, it's very simple. All your objective is to pull this slide all the way to the rear, press your slide catch up, and it's blocking the slide from coming back forward. So call this hand 1 and this hand 2. So hand 1 brings the slide to the rear, and hand 2 presses up on the slide catch. Once I've done that, hand 1 can relieve pressure, then hand 2 can relieve pressure. The objective is to try and get this little stop in front of that little notch in the slide, which will lock the slide to the rear. Now there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. Find what way works best for you. It's really personal preference. Some people like to grab up front here with they have enough grip in their thumbs to just pull like that. Some people like to grab here, press up. Some people build a bridge over the slide, kind of cant it back like that. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. The only thing you want to be mindful of is we want to keep our dominant hand in control of the firearm. That's basically the only principle there is, and our finger off the trigger, obviously. Also, something to be noted is this little portion right here is where your chamber and your slide lock up. If you get skin caught between there, it will pinch you. You're not going to die. So just get some good dry fire reps in. Locking the slide to the rear, locking the slide to the rear until it becomes second nature and you can do it without even thinking of it. The next dry fire drill you can do is also a very simple one, but it takes a lot of practice and it includes locking the slide to the rear. So the next one will actually be simulating loading the firearm. So when this starts, I always think it's a good idea to get a good sight picture, bring the gun back in, lock your slide to the rear, make sure that the gun is clear. Retrieve your source of ammunition. Now right here, this is a really good time to start practicing getting this grip on your magazine. We want to do everything so that it's consistent. So right here, I'd be pointing at my rounds. You want to get this grip right here on your magazine. So come out, insert the magazine, watch what would be a round getting chambered, press out, sight picture, right? So now we've just gone through loading the firearm. It's a really good thing to practice that over and over and over again. Sight picture, come back, slide lock to the rear, firearm's clear, good grip on the magazine, insert, watch it, go forward, right? Loading the firearm. All right, so the next one is going to be unload and clear your firearm. So we've covered load, now we're gonna go into unload and clear. So we're gonna start from this position here, slide forward, we wanna unload the firearm. We're always going to assume the weapon is loaded. So we're keeping it pointed in a safe direction, finger off the trigger. What we're going to do now is bring it back, remove the source of the feed, our magazine. Same motion, lock our slide to the rear. If there were a round would have popped right out of there. We're gonna double check chamber, magazine well, and slide face. Slide home, forward, one well-aimed shot, right there, and we're done. We've cleared the weapon. Let's say you get done firing and your slide is locked back like this. You need to know how to clear this. Same exact process here. Remove your magazine, source of the feed. Your slide's already locked back, so there's not much you need to do. You just need to check chamber, magazine well, and slide face. Now we know it's good. Send it home. One well-aimed shot. There you go. The purpose of practicing all these is not because you need to get fast at them, but you need them to become second nature. So that as you're progressing in shooting, if someone tells you to load your firearm or unload your firearm and show clear, you don't have to sit there and think about it. All this stuff can be done dry fire as long as you know the steps and you've seen it performed live. The next extremely good dry fire practice is actually just getting a grip and pressing out. When you first start, probably shown some things about your grip that are gonna make it a little weird for you, but you need to reinforce those things now. So if you've come to a course or you've gotten your grip fixed, now you need to practice that grip and make sure that grip feels natural and you feel at home when you get that grip. You know when it's the right grip. So once you've done this, you get your grip, kind of build the grip down here, and all you're doing is slowly pressing out, seeing your sights, bringing the sights up to your eye. That's all you're doing right there. Retract. Fix the grip, make sure it's nice and firm, press forward. Fix the grip, press forward. And you're just, notice I'm bringing the gun up to my line of sight. I'm not dropping my head and bringing the gun at the same time. I'm really practicing sights, 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 over and over and over again. Now one common mistake I want to show people is they'll come here, and instead of stopping right when they get sights, they'll actually push forward a little bit more, which will dip the front sight down, and then they have to adjust their wrist to bring that front sight back up, which just causes for a whole bunch of extra time in trying to find your sights. So if you're out shooting and you're having a lot of difficulty finding your sights quickly or efficiently, the issue is probably maybe you're overdriving, having to correct and then get your sights, because you're trying to really push out and get there quick. You want to think about pressing out quick, slowing down right to your sights, and you're good to go. So this is a really good one, even for advanced people that have been shooting for a little while, is just getting that perfect place where you stop to get your sights to make it consistent. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is actually trigger work, right? So you can work on your actual act of pulling the trigger even in dry fire. Obviously for all this stuff, again, I just want to reiterate, making sure there's no ammunition in the room or anywhere around. So what you want to do for your trigger work is you can get that rep of pressing out, getting to your sights, and then meeting up with your trigger. So come here, I take the slack out of my trigger. I now have something that I'm aiming at, whether it's a light switch or you can put some cardboard targets up on the wall, whatever works, you just need something to aim at. So I press out, slacks out of the trigger, I check my sights. When I'm ready, when my sights are where I want them, I can react to them, and I just press through the trigger pull. Reset, and I want to try and get right back to that wall, what we call the wall of the trigger once we've taken the slack out. I want to try and reset right to the wall. Same process, sights, slack's already gone, so I just check sights, press. I'm right there. And you just want to try and let that trigger reset right there. Now you can't do it perfectly, this is something you're going to have to actually live fire, but the point is you don't want to slack, press, and reset like that. You're building a bad habit, so you want to be able to go right back to that wall where that reset is. This will really help you be a more accurate shooter. It'll also help you get back on target a lot faster because the gun will settle and you'll already be on that wall, and all you have to do is react to your sights. So again, something that we can dry fire and then take to the range and practice with live fire. All right guys, I hope the video was helpful for you. I was just outlining some basic drills, or what I would call an intro to dry fire. These are the things that a lot of students, when they come out to their first private lesson or their first intro to pistol, these are some of those core concepts that if they understand those, they've gotten the course material, the next time they come out to say a Pistol 1 class or another private lesson, they're going to be more familiar with this and we can go over new content. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, keep shooting, keep practicing, get that dry fire in, and get some training. Training is always better than having fancy gear.